Hello, Catamounts. My name is Elias Barton. This is Chats with Cats, presented by WeTV. Today's guest is Elias Barton. Wait, hold on. I think that's me.
We're not doing this again, Elias. I'm gonna need the polo. Come on, we'll get off stage.
I like this polo.
That's unfortunate. Hello, Catamounts. My name is Alexander Hoffman, and this is Chats with Cats, presented by WeTV. In this series, we've been interviewing some of our amazing student athletes here at Western Carolina University. Today's guest, returning for his third interview, is Elias Barton of the track and field team. How are you, Elias?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well, but I'm not going to be doing as well if you keep trying to steal my interview chair.
I'm going to get it one of these days.
I don't think so. Anyway, obviously, last time we had you on was the fall 2024 season opener, and here we are nearing the end of spring 2025 and season 3. What would you say has been a standout moment from this year off the track?
Off the track, this year's been pretty busy just with classes and practice, but I'd say just being able to find time to get back home, spend time with family, and then hang out with some friends has been a really, really good moment for me. Yeah,
I think being able to find that time, especially with the busy schedules that student athletes tend to lead, is definitely important. And another good thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, what is something that you think people might assume or underestimate about being a track and field athlete, maybe versus other sports?
I definitely think track and field's kind of different. It's a very raw sport. Yes, we have a team and we have, a good team dynamic. However, we kind of do all the other sports punishments, like, for fun, because we're psycho in the head. But a lot of times soccer, football, they get in trouble. Hey, you gotta go run laps, and we're doing that for fun. But the other thing is it's a tough mental sport. So to be able to push your body to the absolute limit, you train years and years just to run, for me, like under 50 seconds. So even though that time is pretty quick and pretty small, but it's a lot of training, a lot of effort.
And I think something else is kind of like, you kind of touched on it with just a second, how much of a difference that is, or even like a tenth of a second being such a huge difference that like takes training for years and years to keep bringing down tenths of a second is very different.
Absolutely. And some of the, like 1 second, if you're running a 100 or 200, is a full yard or a couple meters. Like it's a big gap. So there's definitely a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of going off of what you mentioned about like pushing your body to the limit, this interview is also kind of a comeback story for you getting back on the track. As some may know, you've recently had a bit of a comeback to track meets, being out for injury for a while. I'd like to give you the space to talk about what that has been like and how much it meant to compete again once you were back.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of a long story, but I'll try to cut it down. Last year, around, I think it was April 8th, I ended up having an ankle injury. I made it all through practice, and the last rep of our 200s that we were doing, my ankle basically gave out. So I've had some issues with it in the past. I broke my ankle, I think 5 or 6 years ago, and I was an idiot and just kind of walked it off, didn't think anything of it. I had multiple x-rays taken, and so they were able to see that I broke my ankle that 5 years ago, and there was no real cut and dry solution. They couldn't figure out what was going on. I eventually got an MRI, and they couldn't really find much, but they basically found I had a stress reaction in the medial malleolus, which is the ankle bone, and so I had basically tiny micro cracks going through my entire ankle bone, and then from when I broke my ankle years ago, I built up scar tissue, which was preventing the healing. And so I had a bunch of doctors trying to figure out what was going on. Eventually made the decision to go with surgery, and I had an ankle surgery in October. It kept getting pushed back. So during the hurricane, that was something that was going on. So it got pushed back, I think, 3 weeks. And so that prevented me to, get back to sport. But after that, I started doing PT, and that was really tough. Just trying to be able to kind of relearn how to walk and run again. It's very difficult, but it's taught me a lot. And so now coming back, I had a track meet a couple weeks ago at UNC Asheville, and ended up being one of the best meets of my life. I actually ran a personal best in the 4x4. So it was definitely shocking, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think hitting a personal best at any point is going to be something that's like really impressive, but then doing it right after not having been in a meet for a year is like, it's just insane. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
And I kind of, with that whole experience, how would you say that made you grow as an athlete or even just as a person?
I would say the biggest thing I've kind of learned and kind of grown from is I would have a tendency to kind of get in my own head and have that mental block for track meets. And so I'd go out, I have to think, oh, I have to perform well, I have to do well. And that would get in my own head, and I would just overthink it. And I would get stiff and tight, and I wasn't able to run properly. My mechanics and my form were kind of breaking down. And so one thing I found is just being able to stay relaxed, a little bit more calm while running, especially the 400, and just staying smooth all the way through. I think that's helped a lot.
Yeah. And along that as well, what keeps you motivated, especially during those hard times when you were out?
I will say it's definitely tough. There were definitely days, weeks, and even months where I absolutely felt like quitting, giving up. But, reading my Bible, staying in the faith has helped me stay motivated. My family has always been supportive. Hanging out with friends, and, the competitiveness of the track team is definitely there. So they're always pushing me. That always keeps me motivated. And even I'm a little more of an introvert, so finding time to sit down and draw is kind of my getaway. And so when I'm feeling depressed and feeling down, or something's not quite right, I just sit down, kind of relax, get my head right back in the game, and then feel motivated again and get back to it.
And with the art, we will be putting the link to your art Instagram up in the description as well. So check that out, guys. It is incredible. And we are going to kind of move away from your comeback story overall. But the last time you were here, mental health hadn't really been brought into the interviews yet as a topic. How important would you say mental health tends to be as a student athlete?
Very important, I'd definitely say. For me, it's a lot going from, all your academics and finding time to sit down, do your homework, and also find the motivation to kind of push through, kind of we just talked about, push through the physical pains of being an athlete. And so, yeah, mental health is super important. A lot plays into it: eating healthy, stretching, warming up properly. It's super important.
Yeah, I think whenever you're pushing your body physically that much, there's going to be mental strain that you just have to take care of.
Yeah.
So, super important. And last question before our lightning round. As you've gained more time and experience here in the WE, would you say you've taken on any kind of mentorship or leadership role on the track team?
I'd definitely say so. While I was injured and out, I ended up pretty much doing only core work, which was awful. But I would get to help out with practices. So while I wasn't able to run, I was able to record people and kind of coach their form a little bit. Back home, I had a part-time job coaching, and so I have that coaching mentality. And so, working with people and, critiquing the form, helping with the block starts, I definitely kind of gained a little more of that coaching mentality for track. And so that definitely kind of put me in a leadership position. Built trust with coaches. Now they're, may have me help lead practice or help me lead warm-ups, wherever that may be, or pace setting, which I ended up doing at the track meet for the 800, where I ran one lap and then dropped off. So stuff like that definitely played a big part of that.
Yeah, and I think that coach mentality, that leadership experience, and then as viewers may know from your last two interviews, you were a sports management major as well. That kind of all plays into maybe you could be a track coach. Be a cool thing.
That'd be awesome.
Western eventually will need another one. or few, I guess. But we are going to move into our lightning round because we can't have an interview without a lightning round or fun questions. So we have 3 new ones because you've already had our last set. So favorite event at track to watch, not just compete in?
It's definitely a 400 for me. I have bias there, but in this order, 4, 2, 1 are my favorite.
Okay, so the sprints.
Yes.
Makes sense. What is your favorite post-meet recovery snack?
Ooh, I love any type of smoothie or a little protein smoothie. And then probably some granola bars. I know that's kind of lame, but and if I can kind of get away with a milkshake, totally a milkshake.
I mean, smoothies and granola bars are kind of the recovery stereotype for a reason. They work. And then, what is your most intense or fun meet environment you've been in this season?
Well, considering I've only been in one meet this season, I would say the UNC Asheville. But I will say, even over all the years, this has probably been the one at UNC Asheville was the most fun. With that comeback and running the best time. My coach comes running over, and he's like, "Dude, I can't believe you just ran." Like, he was in shock, and it's like, holds up the stopwatch, and I'm like, I'm out. I have a speed headache. I'm like, I can't. Everything's spinning, and I was like, I can't see that. And he's like, "You just ran a 47." I was like, "What?" And completely in shock. And then I hear Kylan, who's on our track team, comes running over and starts jumping on my neck. It's like, "You just ran a 47." It's like, I'm like, my legs are shaking in pain. I'm like, "Please stop." And so that was a lot of fun and very, very fun environment to be in.
Yeah, I can imagine so. But we are going to have our closing question. As you've already been on for season 1 and 2, you've had our go-to warm-up artist or genre last spring. You've had our, we've let you give advice last fall. So I'd like to give you the opportunity now to shout out anyone or anything that has helped you on your journey, or that you'd just like to give recognition to. You have the floor.
There's been a lot of people that have helped. So, of course, my friends and family have always been there. First and foremost, God's helped me get through all of this. And so coaching staff as well, they've all been great. They've all been willing to work with me, changing up practices, stuff that I can do. So that's been a huge part of it. And then everybody in the PT team, they've been getting me back into shape. That goes from our WCU staff PT with Julia, and then the other one across the street at the Human Resources building with Asa and Chase and all of them. They've been helping a lot, and so not just strengthening just the ankle, but other parts of the body that are a little bit weaker from overcompensating and having to keep weight off of the injured foot. So all of them.
Thank you for doing the shout outs for me today. That is going to do it for the interview today. Thank you, Elias, for returning for your 3rd interview, despite the fact that you tried to steal the show.
I always do.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That's all we have for you today. We'll catch you next time, and go Cats.